When I was a child in Texas, we used to be fined if we spoke Spanish. It was very, very racist, and it continued all through my elementary school.
From her youth to today, Herminia Acosta Enrique has battled through cultural divide, making her one of the leading activists in her community.
She is best known as the founder of San Diego's Ballet Folklorico in Aztlán in 1967.
But who is Herminia Enrique, and what has inspired her to devote her life to art and activism?
My childhood was spent in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas. But we would write little plays, and my brothers and sisters. I would teach them little actos. They would have to be spontaneous sometimes. They would be getting a line, and one would have to get up there, and we would clap, and they had to do something they just imagine, or imaginary, or whatever they wanted to do. Then we would clap for them, then another one would come up and do actos, and we would write about the situation in the country, what was happening in the neighborhood, what we knew about, We used to be fined if we spoke Spanish, and it was a penny first. The second time it was 5 cents, and then it was 10 cents. And then eventually it got to be 25 cents, and at that time you were expelled and you were sent home, and you could not come back unless your mother or your father or your guardian came and explained why in the world you were speaking Spanish. We weren't allowed to eat tortillas. If the teacher caught us trying to eat tortillas for lunch, she would take the tortillas and throw them in the trash. When I was in junior school, I had long hair. And at school, during the physical education class, when it rained, we went to the cafeteria, and they had long tables, and we would sit, and I was sitting at the end of the table, and 2 of my friends with long hair too were sitting on the right-hand side. I could see my PE teacher coming, and she was coming up in between the tables, and she was joking with the girls, and the girls were laughing, and she came closer and closer, and then she came behind me, and she got my braid, and she pulled my head back like that. And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm cutting stuff out for the yearbook." She said, "But where are we?" And every time she asked me a question, she would go like that. And I said, "We're in the cafeteria." "Why are we in the cafeteria?" "Because it's raining." "Where is it raining?" "It's raining in San Antonio, Texas." "Where is your school?" "It's Washington Irving in San Antonio, Texas." And every time she'd pull my hair back like that, and she said, "So where is San Antonio, Texas?" In Texas." And she said, "Where is Texas?" "In the United States of America." "Right, we're in America. We're not in Mexico. So what are you doing with this long hair?" She said, "You're supposed to have your hair cut." So she asked for my scissors, and she tried to cut them a braid, and it wouldn't, it just jig, and she couldn't cut it. So she asked for more scissors. So by the end of the 3rd scissor, she had gotten a longer scissor, and she cut it, and all the girls were laughing, and she was laughing, and she cut my braid off, and she threw it in the trash. I was mortified. It hurt so much, to be made fun of and to have my hair cut off. But my mother made me a new dress, and I went to school. And she had to fix my hair because it was all crooked, You had to cut it evenly. And those were the things that we used to go through, and things that you never forget. I'm sorry.
Despite the pressure to conform, Herminia embraced her culture, using Mexican folklore, art, and most importantly, dance, as ways of keeping her culture alive.
Herminia moved to San Diego with her husband and 11 children in 1967, at the height of the civil rights movement that was dividing the nation.
San Diego itself was engulfed in the Chicano movement, and Herminia rose to the occasion, quickly becoming one of the most influential Mexican-American activists of her time. In 1969, she was instrumental in the founding of San Diego Centro Cultural de la Raza.
We taught them not just how to dance, what the music meant and where the music came from the different regions in Mexico. There are steps that signify historic moments in the Mexican history and the indigenous history.
Danza de la Pluma is one of the jewels of the Oaxacan tradition, and some say it originated in Zachila in the Central Valleys of Oaxaca. The dance, which represents in part the encounter between Moctezuma and Cortez during the supposed conquest of Mexico by the Spaniards. In reality, it is much older.
Art and even folklorico is political because there's a dance that has a fringe, the fringe that goes across the front, and they say that fringe is not going to go away until all the indigenous people are free because they're behind bars.
And of course, as most of you know, this big Nana also happens to be the daughter of Herminia Enrique, who was the founder of the BFA.
Herminia Enrique has also spent much of her life promoting dialogue among indigenous tribes of the Americas. She gave herself the indigenous name Techitzin, which means wise old craftswoman.
Herminia Enrique has not only passed on cultural treasures to generations, but she has helped create a proud identity for thousands of children and adult Chicanas and Chicanos in San Diego for the past 35 years. She has stood unwavering in her advocacy for cultural awareness and community involvement.
Oh, get involved, please get involved. You can't pretend. Once you become aware, you can't pretend that things are not happening. You can't pretend that everything is all right, because it isn't. To this day, it isn't all right. There's two sides to everything. There's the good and there's the bad. There's the way that you can just be light and carefree and not worry, and then there's the way that you can fight injustice. Benjamin, what's your last name?
Garcia.
Garcia. Mm-hmm. I hope you make a film one day, and I get to no wait too long because I want to see it. A nice film,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
about our people.
Okay.
Okay.